welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Lovely. This is the art of unlearning and learning. Learning and unlearning. I'm always changing it. Either I'm learning and unlearning, unlearning and learning. I feel like every week I change the order that I say it. So it depends on what I did this week. It's either I was learning and unlearning or unlearning and learning. But welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, so today I wanted to discuss the topic of boundaries. Okay, but more so boundaries in children and how it affects them in the future. I have a beautiful little niece. I have a few nieces actually. And we've been working on boundaries with this new little generation we got starting. Okay, we've been working on little boundaries so they know the little important things. And my older nephews and nieces, they also they know because Auntie was not playing that back in the day. Auntie's a little lax now because Auntie's getting a little tired, but Auntie was auntie back then. Okay, I've been an auntie since I want to say 15 years old. I've been an auntie since I was 15. 14 actually. I would say since I was 14 years old, I've been an auntie. I now have a nephew that is in college. He's 17 and he's off to college, y'all. Off to college. That's crazy. That's crazy. But yes. Okay. So I wanted to talk about boundaries in children. And starting off, I have several topics here. So it's never too early to teach children about boundaries. I know some people may question okay, but at what age do I start? The moment they start having some common sense. Yeah. The moment they start speaking back to you. The moment they can talk back and the moment they can know the difference between good and bad, yes and no, you start setting some boundaries right then and there with them and starts teaching them about their own boundaries and boundaries with others. Okay, so it's never too early to teach children about boundaries. One of the most powerful things we can give to our children is the understanding of personal boundaries. When children learn what boundaries are and how to honor them, both in themselves and in others, they grow into emotionally healthy, self-aware, and confident adults. Literally. I am an example of this when it comes to having boundaries in certain areas, and not also having boundaries and not having boundaries in certain areas. So why does this matter? Why? Children who are taught about physical, emotional, and relational boundaries from an early age are less likely to be manipulated, okay, abused, or taken advantage of. So if you are now an adult and you've experienced any of those three things, now you can go back and think of how did I get here? How did I become this person that is so easily manipulated, so easily abused, so easily taken advantage of? It all stems from your childhood, from not having boundaries, from not knowing what those things look like. They develop stronger self-respect and are better equipped to navigate relationships with clarity, confidence, and self-control. One thing I will say about me, I do have a lot of self-control. Listen, I have a lot of self-control. I'll pat my little back for that one. I do have a lot of self-control and self-respect. Okay? That's one thing I will really, I should really be clapping my parents. But I'm a tap me on my shoulder too for maintaining my self-respect and also my self-control, because I had to control that, but they did train me very early on to have boundaries, to have definitely self-respect was really big, especially in a Haitian household. If you're a girl, honey, they are ingraining self-respect in your head. Okay. So I have listed 6 practical tips for teaching children boundaries. One, start with body autonomy. Even though they are young, they understand a lot of things. Okay? They understand. My niece is 5 now. That girl is smart. I tell my sister all the time, I said, don't hold nothing back. Tell it to her straight. I was obviously tell it to her like you would tell a 5-year old. Don't tell it to her like you would tell me, but tell it to her with clarity, not with confusion. Tell it to her in a way that she would understand these things. Teach your children that their body belongs to them and the Lord. Your body belongs to you and the Lord. That's it. Okay? You are a child. So use proper names for body parts and talk openly in obviously age appropriate ways about privacy, consent, phrases like you don't have to hug someone if you don't want to. You don't have to kiss someone if you don't want to when you're greeting people. In the Haitian culture, that was a big thing growing up. Like I had to go around and kiss everybody in the room. I hated that culture. Oh my gosh, I couldn't wait to be an adult so I could cancel that out because I hated I hate bad breath. Like I just hate it, and I hate kissing people and ugh. I as I got older, I realized that I also hate it when my skin touches other people's skin. Yeah, I know it's crazy because I'm in healthcare, but I wear gloves and long sleeves. So you also the next thing is if someone makes you uncomfortable, you can always say no and empower them to trust their instincts. Kids have instincts, guys. Listen, kids have instincts. I had an instinct when I was a child. And if something didn't feel right or something didn't sound right, honey, I was a tattletale. I'm telling my mama. I'm telling an adult. I'm telling my brother. I'm telling someone older than me. Okay, till this day, I still tell. I will tell if anybody do anything wrong to me. Okay, married or not. I'm telling you. I'm telling. Don't think you're gonna beat me in secret. I'm telling. But no, seriously, focus. So, like I said, growing up in my culture, that was like something that was like mandatory. You had to kiss all the adults and all of those things, and I didn't like that. So that's one thing I will not be forcing my kids to do. They will never have to kiss anybody or hug anybody they don't want to. Stand where you at and say hi. You greeting everybody, that's for sure, but you don't have to touch nobody. And then 2, normalize saying no. Children should know that no is a complete sentence. I didn't know that. Okay. No is a complete sentence. So teach them that saying no doesn't make them rude. That's what I was told. I was told saying no is rude. That I was not allowed to say no. And then they wonder why I'm a people pleaser. Because I wasn't allowed to say no. I couldn't say no to nothing. It makes them assertive. Let them know that saying no is not rude, but it makes them assertive. Encourage them to use their voices, model it by respecting their boundaries. I didn't learn that because one, my boundaries was not really being respected as a kid like that, but I had some boundaries that were being respected. Like I had my door, I was allowed to close my door and people would not had to knock before they come into my room, you know? And my dad did that. So all my brothers did that as well. So my family, my sisters, everybody who would come into my room, they would knock because for some reason my door was always closed and I was always sleeping. Your girl napped a lot growing up. I did not miss nap. Listen, I never missed a nap growing up. I had a very soft life. I still do. It's probably why I'm soft now. But anyway, step number 3, teach respect for others. Teach respect for others' boundaries. Okay? Because other children should also have their own boundaries as well. And if they don't, but your kid, your child should also respect other children's boundaries. Just as they learn to protect their own space, teach them to respect others' space too. Use simple concept like asking before borrowing something or checking if a friend is okay with being teased or touched. So step 4, use everyday situation as a teaching moment. One thing my mother did was every day was a teaching moment. Like she would always be telling me random things in random situations, which I later find out and figured out that, oh, she was teaching me something. Okay, cool. So when conflicts arise during play or social settings, use that as a real life opportunity to talk about boundaries. For example, how did it make you feel when your friend didn't listen to you when you asked them to stop? Then guide them in how to respond assertively and respectfully. Those are things that I somewhat had, or would do, but it was not really taught to me. It was just my instincts kind of would kick in to where I would know when I would need to say, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But again, it all had to do with everyday conversations that I was having with my mother. I was picking up on her demeanor a little bit. So things that I was not comfortable with doing, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. My mother said that's not a child's game. uh, no. Oh, y'all want to play mom and dad? Yeah, no, I don't play that game. Mm-mm. I'm not interested. That was just me. And once I said no, they would not ask me again, because if you ask me again, now I'm telling my mom, because why are you asking me more than once? I already said no the first time. Yeah, I was that kid. So number 5, model healthy boundaries at home. Listen, a lot of people think that education is done in the school system. Education starts at home. Like a lot of the stuff that I learned at home, which is why I'm also doing a lot of unlearning. But that's besides the point. Children learn most by example. Okay? They learn what you do, not what you say. Clock that. Show them what boundaries look like in your relationship, saying no when you are overwhelmed, expressing needs respectfully, and not tolerating disrespect. Okay? Do not tolerate disrespect, because your kids will see that, they will absorb that, they would think that's okay. And it's not. That's one thing I never saw between my parents. They didn't really fight in front of me like that growing up, but that's a different conversation. Revisit the conversation often. Step 6. Okay, so step 6, revisit the conversation often. Boundaries are not a one time lesson. As the child grows, so should the depth of the conversation, and what makes sense at the age of 4 is not going to make sense by the age of 10 or 16. So it needs to be evolving constantly as they're getting older. To keep the door open as well too. So keep the door open for honest and judgment-free dialogues as they are getting older. So continuously having that conversation with them. So by planting these seeds early, you are giving your child a lifelong gift. The ability to navigate the world with clarity, courage, and compassion. You're not just protecting them, you're preparing them to become people who honor themselves and others in every stages of life. My Caribbean mother did a really great job of that. I will say, no matter what happened between me and my mom, like that's one thing that I will always love her for, is for starting my wisdom, my intuition, getting me connected with God early, having me build and create my own personal relationship with God, and not so focused on the church. She was not very like, oh, church is Jesus, Jesus is church, and church, like, no. She was like, you need to have a relationship with God. You need to understand who God is. You need to know who Jesus is. You need to know who He is, not who the church is or what the church represents or what the church. So it wasn't anything like that. Like, of course, we went to church every Sunday. Listen, we did not miss a day. Okay, we went to church every single Sunday. But she was more so focusing on having a relationship with God, talking with God, and having Jesus as my friend. And I grew up with that. So I grew up having a childlike faith and childlike relationship with God, where I do view him as my father, like as my dad. So even if my biological dad were to abandon me, I would just be like, oops, okay, well, I guess now Big Daddy gonna have to step up. So now I'm like, okay, I'll go straight to the father, because my daddy is down here on earth acting up. So to me, that's how I've always seen God. I've always seen him as a actual father to me. So, and I said all that to say that my Caribbean mother, she was really full of wisdom. Those small conversations that we would have on our daily walks to the market. When I still remember them from when I was maybe 8 years old, not eight, maybe like from 8, 7, 6, and 5. That's how far my memory goes when it comes to having childhood memories with my mother, because that's how long I was with her. Um, and then so having those conversations on our way to the markets, those have truly helped shape the way that I view myself as a person, as a woman, the way that I view my body, the way that I view my future life, the way that I wanted to live, and the type of partner, husband, mother, the daughter that I want to be. Like, even at an early age, like, I would think of all those things, because she would always ask me questions like, do you want to be married one day? Do you want to have a nice husband? Or do you want to have wonderful children? Like, she would ask me all these questions, and I used to be like, well, yeah, I want to get married so I can wear a beautiful white dress and have a really nice husband, but I feel like I have a very long way to go. But now looking back at it as I was getting older, I was like, oh, okay, that's why she was asking those type of questions, is to kind of like gear up or see, what choices that I would make, you know? So I say all that to say, give that gift to your children. Give them the gift of setting boundaries, of having boundaries, and knowing what that looks like, and knowing what that's supposed to feel like, because that was honestly one of the best things my mother could have established in me as a little girl before I separate from her. Because those little stories that we shared, those little conversations, I would replay them in my mind, in my head, for the next 11 years that I went without her. And those things kept me grounded. Those things kept me to make the right decisions, to make the right call when it comes to relationships, and to respect my body, and to respect myself, and to think and envision of the type of woman that I want to be, the type of wife that I want to be, the type of mother that I want to be. And all of those things started at a very, very early age. Even though early on I didn't really have the understanding of what she was doing, but as I got older, I started to see why. Why were we having these conversations? Oh, okay, now I see it now. So I say all that to say, let's raise a generation that's not only kind, but also self aware, strong, and safe. So give that gift to our children. Boundaries is very important. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you like this, please leave a comment or subscribe. Definitely subscribe and share this with your friends and everyone that you think would benefit from it as well. And thank you so much. And in case no one have told you this week, remember, I love you. Have a good one. Bye.